Our city has grown tremendously. We're 333,000 people in our zip code. We're no longer a small town. I think leadership is needed, and I think there needs to be a voice for the people, the neighborhoods, and the business community.
Educate, inform, inspire. The Dan Parsons Show, a podcast that lifts up instead of tearing down.
Hey, thanks so much for tuning in to the Dan Parsons Show. I'm your host, Dan Parsons. Coming up on today's show, we continue our conversations with candidates for Lincoln City Council. Today's guest is Jerry Shoecraft. But before I introduce Jerry, a reminder to hop on over to our YouTube channel and hit the subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. And do you have a burning question for one of our guests? Go to thedanparsonsshow.com and become a friend of Dan on Patreon. We'll choose one of your questions to ask.
The people decide. The voices impacting Lincoln. This is Election Coverage 2025 on The Dan Parsons Show.
Yes, here at The Dan Parsons Show, we are focusing on the Lincoln City elections this spring, including the city council races. There are 9 candidates running for Lincoln City Council, including 3 incumbents. Those 9 candidates will vie for 3 at-large seats in the upcoming April 8th primary election. The top 6 vote getters will advance to the May 6th general election. So it's my pleasure to introduce you to one of those candidates, Mr. Jerry Shoecraft. Jerry, welcome to the Dan Parsons Show.
Thanks, Dan. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah. As I said in the preamble, I know we've met through the years, but we've maybe lost touch of each other. And so anyway, I'm glad that you could make some time to chat to our listeners and viewers. I appreciate it very much. Here's just a little bio for our folks just getting to maybe know Jerry. You served 2 terms as an at-large member on the city council back in the 1990s, and then ran for election to the Northeast District in 2003. And now you're running again for the at-large district seat. So my first question, Jerry, how has Lincoln changed since you last served on the council?
Well, our city has grown tremendously. We're 333 people in our 1,000 people in our zip code. So the biggest challenge that we face now is that we're no longer a small town. So we have pressing challenges in front of us. It's going to take innovative solutions to address those challenges, but we have to progressively move this city forward with fiscal responsibility. I'm trying to bring leadership, transparency, and fiscal responsibility to city government. I've been studying all the issues over the years, and I think leadership is needed, and I think there needs to be a voice for the people, the neighborhoods, and the business community.
Yeah. Well said. Okay, I've been doing a series of questions for all of our guests, whether you're running for office or you're my barber, whoever is my guest. We're doing a series of 4 questions, 4 plus 1. I'm calling it Dan's 4 and you're 1. So I'm going to ask you 4 questions, and then you get to ask me 1 back, either something similar or completely different. So if you're ready, let's do these.
Yeah.
Question number 1, where did you grow up?
I grew up in Muncie, Indiana. I came to Nebraska on a basketball scholarship. I had the opportunity when I first arrived in Lincoln to walk down O Street. I haven't had a chance to visit the Bob Devaney Sports Center yet. I was walking down O Street, and every block I went, someone said hello. And I wasn't used to that in Indiana. Indiana was not, my neighborhood especially was not very welcoming with respect to the neighborhood. So I'm walking down O Street, and everybody kept saying hello to me. And I found that very appealing. I go another block, someone said hello. I go over across the street, heading back to the hotel, And I called my mom and I said, I'm going to sign with the University of Nebraska Lincoln. And she says, why? Did you like the gym? And I said, and the coaches? I said, no, I haven't had a chance to even go there yet. I said, it's the people, Mom. They were very welcoming. And that's why I signed with the University of Nebraska Lincoln to play basketball.
Cool. That's a cool story. Very cool. Okay. Question number 2. What was your dream job when you were a kid?
Always wanted to be an actor. I felt like that was my calling. I was into music, and I had the ability to stand on my feet and react to any situation. Always had a dream of being in Hollywood, but obviously that didn't happen. But I do not regret being here in Lincoln, Nebraska. I've been here ever since. So this is a wonderful community.
Yeah. Well, and hey, some of those skills I'm sure have come in handy as an adult running for political office.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. Okay. Question number 3. The most famous person you've ever met?
This is going to sound a little bit corny, but it's true. It's my mom, who's no longer with us. But I grew up in an environment, a very negative environment around me in my neighborhood. She emphasized for me to go to school. I had perfect attendance in school from middle school to high school. She kept me out of trouble. Always had a positive environment with me, and I was the only one in my family to be able to get out of my hometown, go to college, and contribute to this society. She's my greatest hero. She's my most famous person ever met in my life, and without her, I wouldn't be here today.
That's cool. That's a pretty darn good answer, Jerry. I like that. Yeah, there's just something special about our moms. So my mom's not with us anymore either. So yeah, that's cool. Okay. Last question for you in this little quick fire questions. What was the first concert you attended?
Earth, Wind, and Fire at the Bob Devaney Sports Center.
Nice. Man,
that was pretty good.
Which would have been back in their heyday, I assume.
Yeah. For our great concert at PBA, Michael Bublé, that was really good as well.
Yeah. Very cool. Okay, your one question back to me.
Yeah. Who's the most famous person you ever met, Dan?
Well, so I answered this on another question here recently with one of our guests. And so for our listeners and viewers, it hasn't aired yet, so we'll see which one airs the first. So it's kind of a funny story. So in high school, I actually went to high school in Ogallala. I was born here in Lincoln, grew up here. My family moved out west to Ogallala, and all through high school, I worked at Kentucky Fried Chicken, and we won some award or something, and we all piled into a minivan and drove to Omaha to a steakhouse, and we met Colonel Sanders.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So anyway, that's, I've been near and about other people who I guess you could say are famous, but I think that's the most unique person I've ever met. And if my producer actually finds the photograph of me in high school, let's just put it this way, Jerry, there's a lot of hair and a lot of polyester. Back in the day. All right. Thanks for doing Dan's 4 and your 1, just to let our listeners and viewers get to know you a little bit better. All right, let's get into the meat of what we're doing here with your race for city council. As I think I've mentioned, we are partnering with Civic Nebraska and Flatwater Free Press, and they are producing a voter guide for the city elections. And so I would encourage our listeners and viewers to check that out, a very useful tool as we get ready to vote in the April 8th primary election. So here's one of those questions that's on that voter guide. What is the most pressing issue facing the city of Lincoln and its residents? And if elected to the city council, how would you address that issue?
Well, we touched on it initially. We have to realize and understand that we're not a small town anymore. So we have big time city problems with respect to our roads and infrastructure, traffic congestion, and then we lack transparency with respect to our budget. And so we have to build that relationship with our community, and so that the community trusts their leaders and trusts that we're spending their tax dollars for purposes intended. And my position is, over the last 20 years, we have not used our wheel tax for purposes intended. Our wheel tax generates $5.9 million a year for roads, $2.7 million for residential streets, and $8.4 million for maintenance operations. So imagine if we'd have used our wheel tax the last 20 years for purposes intended, we wouldn't be in the mess that we are today regarding our roads and have to rely on special taxes to fix our roads. So that is a very pressing need, and that's something we need to address going forward as well.
Well, that weighs into the question I had about the quarter-cent sales tax. As our viewers and listeners know, voters will decide, actually in the primary on April 8th, whether to continue the Lincoln on the Move funding for street improvements. As obviously, as you know, Jerry, in 2019, Lincoln voters approved a 6-year quarter-cent sales tax for street improvements across the city. So based on your answer to the last question, do you support or oppose renewing the quarter-cent sales tax to continue funding improvements to existing streets and construction of new streets?
I'm going to reluctantly support it because if we don't, it's going to hurt our first responders. It's going to hurt our business community, and it will hurt our pedestrian safety. And that's very important to me. The last time, I don't feel that tax was used 100%. From my understanding and research, we only used about 75% of it for purposes intended. If the voters decide to approve this renewal of the quarter-cent sales tax, and I'm blessed to return to the city council, I'm going to make sure that we use 100% of that quarter-cent sales tax for purposes intended.
Very good. Very good. Let's talk about the economy. Lincoln's economy is diversified in recent years, but I think we all recognize that there's challenges remain in attracting businesses and retaining skilled workers. What strategies would you pursue to address those economic challenges for the city?
Well, two things. We can get into talking about workforce development, but first of all, if we want economic vitality in every sector of our community, if we want an expanded tax base and smart development that creates jobs, if we want to lower our taxes, we have to let more businessmen and women at the seat of the table and let them be the driving force for economic vitality in our community. And then you will see economic prosperity. You will see the infrastructure needs being addressed. But we have to change that no mentality that exists and allow more businessmen and women to have a seat at the table. The city of Lincoln is doing a good job with their workforce initiatives, training the underemployed and getting them to have the ability to move up to the next job at higher paying jobs. A lot of the nonprofit agencies are receiving grants to help young nurses graduate, help individuals obtain their CDL license. There's a lot of wonderful things going on with our nonprofits to help people achieve their dreams, improve their skills, and make them more marketable, not only in Lincoln, but in the global market as well.
You know, speaking of young people and attracting and keeping people here in the city, skilled workers, you know, there's a lot of talk about what we can do as a city and maybe partnerships with the private sector of of making amenities that will attract young people. You know, we know it's a global economy, right? We're competing with people from Kansas City and Denver and Minneapolis and Chicago even, and I think a lot of young people I think attracted to a smaller community like Lincoln because it is more affordable. And there are probably more opportunities. But are we doing enough in the city, or should we be doing more with attracting those young people and keeping those young workers as far as amenities, whatever those might be that they would find in some of those bigger cities?
I don't think we're doing enough. I think part of my campaign, or the theme of my campaign, is there's so much more we can do. My campaign has not been one of telling the community everything that the current council or the administration is doing wrong. That's not how I campaign. My campaign is there's so much more we can do. And I'm illustrating those with examples of innovative solutions for traffic congestion, in-flare technologies to fix potholes that last 2 to 3 years versus 6 months to a year at a cheaper cost. Things that de facto East Beltway that will create economic vitality in East Lincoln using our existing infrastructure. But they made a decision on the convention center site,
Yep.
which
Yep.
was a good decision. And there was the ability to use the turnback tax for that project is very important. So I think once we do that and we let the business community create economic vitality in some of our inner city neighborhoods and throughout our community, I think we will attract young people here and keep them here. I think you'll see tourism increase, and then hopefully one day we'll get another airlines here in Lincoln. But they will not come until we progressively move the city forward and allow them a seat at the table. And if we do that, you'll see our community take off, and we'll keep those young graduates here in Lincoln, and because they are our future leaders. And so that's my agenda and what I'm going to be pushing if I'm blessed to return to the city council.
Very good. Very good. Well, I've only got a couple more here, Jerry, and I'll cut you loose. So I'm in the business of communication, my public relations business I've done for, decades. And so we always talk about the elevator speech, right? What's your elevator speech? So what's Jerry Shoecraft's elevator speech to voters as they walk into the booth on April 8th?
Well, it's going to be about transparency, leadership, and fiscal responsibility. It's going to be about progressively moving this community forward to address our infrastructure needs, to be a steward of their tax dollars, and to make sure we're using our tax dollars for purposes intended. We have our general fund and our general fund reserve, and we tend to stick our hand in a cookie jar with the general fund reserves for, I don't want to say non-essential projects, but projects that can be done with federal funding. Our general fund reserve should be used as a risk management tool for economic disruptions, severe weather impacts like we just had this week, increased costs for healthcare for our city employees. So it's about showing the voters there's so much more we can do to progressively move the city forward. And public safety is very important to me. There's our firefighters and our police officers have needs, and they're working with less, and they're doing a tremendous job. And public safety is going to be number one for me, and supporting their needs and trying to find a way to fund a COLA for our firefighters and our police officers with respect to their pension. So I'm looking forward to it. God willing, if I'm blessed to return, I'll be ready to go on day one.
Very good. Anything I didn't ask, Jerry, that you wanted me to ask?
No, it was a pleasure.
Yeah.
It's good to talk to you again, and I appreciate what you do. Very informative and helpful for our community. So keep doing good things, Dan.
Yeah, well, that's very kind, Jerry. I appreciate it very much. How's your bracket? How's your March Madness bracket
It's
looking?
already busted. Me and my wife do a little fun bet, $50, and we fill it out at home. And my bracket's already busted, so she's gonna love this. Yeah, yeah.
Well, Jerry, again, my congratulations on running. I know it's not a small thing, and so I wish you the best of luck. And thanks again for coming on the show.
Thank you, Dan.
Hey, thanks so much, Jerry Shoecraft, for joining me today. Best of luck in the upcoming election for Lincoln City Council. Thanks to Penology Tech Solutions for their technical help and equipment. Kim Remington, Parsons PR's Director of Operations, and Chase Porter, who produced this episode. And most importantly, thanks to each of you for listening. Now, that's the show. Thanks for tuning in. Go do good things. I'm Dan Parsons.